Hey everyone. So we're going to start the tour here at my engraving bench. Now this is going to be kind of a walk around, talk about, you know, video about my shop. And so I'm going to try and hold the camera as still as I can while I'm talking, but any chance I get to set it down like right now to focus on an area, I will. What you see before you is my engraving bench, and it has a microscope over here, my vise over here with a fixture, and that holds that particular fixture holds my nibs. Right over here, what you see is my engraving machine. That is a Pulsegraver. It's actually all electric. An engraving machine basically acts like a little jackhammer, and it's made to cut metal using a V point or a round point or a flat point. There's several different profiles you can use, but to get into it right now would be another rabbit hole, and we'll get into it later on. The jeweler's bench is where I do most of my handwork. It's outfitted just like a typical jeweler's bench, which I probably don't even know what a typical jeweler's bench is outfitted like, but I can only assume. Right here you see a bunch of hammers in a row, and they do a myriad of different things, from flattening, planishing, riveting, texturing, and who knows what. Whenever I need a hammer, I know where to reach for them. Under that is my files, and that's pretty self-explanatory. Next to that is my row of New Concept jeweler saws, which I really love, and they really work well. What I really love about the bench, and you'll see here, is this system. It's made by GRS, but it is a dovetail system where you're able to do many different things by changing the fixtures that attach to it. You can attach your bird's mouth or a surface where you can get right up into the work, and you have this area open for your arms, to a soldering station where you can put your pieces right here, and with the third or fourth arm you can solder them together. It's a really great tool. Also, you have a vise that rotates, and that's a really neat tool. And there's other ones that you can get. A lot of third-party companies are starting to make things to fit on that system. Moving on is this bandsaw. The table is made by a company called Swag Off-Road, and you're able to attach a porter band or some type of saw like a porter band, and you're able to make a stationary metal bandsaw. Next to that is a strip sander, a 2x4 strip sander, and it works really good. Then you have my drill bit sharpener. I'll tell you, this thing has been great, because prior to owning this thing, I used to have to throw out my old drill bits and just buy new ones, because I couldn't get any other machine to sharpen them until this thing. So if you need to sharpen drill bits, and it's only about 250 bucks, and I'll tell you what, it works wonders. Okay, last but not least is two TIG-based milling machines. Now, I make small things, so I don't need a big milling machine. I think a big milling machine is overkill for me. Also, I don't need automation, because basically all of my clips are made by hand. The only thing that these two machines do is to relieve areas, and then I'll take it over to my jeweler's bench and I'll finish it all by hand. Now we're entering my lathe area of the shop, which is in the very back of the shop in the first room. And what you see here is my wood lathe. And the wood lathe is where I do all the shaping of my pens, all the finishing of my pens, and most of the sanding of my pens. It's a great little lathe that turns at really high speed, and it's really done a great job. Next to it is my vintage 1960s Craftsman Atlas 12-inch with an automatic gearbox. This is where I do most of the turning of anything that is not metal. I turn plastics, woods, ebonites, celluloid, and I do a lot of my threading. Also do all my sections here. I have this lathe up pretty high because I'm 6'4", and it's good not to bend over all day when you're at the lathe for 8 hours. Next to that is my 1980s American-made South Bend 10K, and this is where I do all my metal turning. While I'm at it, I would like to show you the back of one of my lathes. And what I want to show you is that I didn't do much cleanup for this video. And the reason is this is a working pen shop or a working shop. And I think it adds to the authenticity of the whole thing by showing you exactly what a shop looks like on any given day. All right, now we're coming into my second room of my shop, and we'll start here at the jeweler's mill. This is basically a rolling mill that takes thicker metal to thinner metal. You stick it in one end, you crank it, and it comes out thinner the other end. Next to it is the ring stretcher and the ring shrinker. At the top, you stick the ring over that post and you push that lever and it stretches it. And down below, you stick it in one of those holes and you push it down and it shrinks it. Great idea. Over here is my slow speed grinder that I do a lot of my sharpening on. That's pretty self-explanatory. This is an interesting tool, and let me get back here a minute here. So it's really a mill. It's a mill drill, and it's an old Chinese model, but it does one thing. It serves one purpose for me, and it's to drill clips. I got it off a marketplace for a few $100, and it's been a great tool for me. Next to it is my buffer, and that's pretty self-explanatory. This is where I buff all my pens. It's another very useful tool, and it is one that if I didn't have, I would miss it. Over here, what appears to be a woodworking bench is a woodworking bench. Back when I started making things, I wanted to be a woodworker. So I bought a really nice woodworking bench. This happens to be a German Ohmia woodworking bench. But now it serves two purposes. It's a staging area for pens that I'm currently making or I'm going to be making. Here's my LE that I'm currently in the process of. And everything you see before you around it is things that is going to start this week. On the other end of the bench, you're going to see my hydraulic press, my nib dies, disc cutters, my guillotine. So it's useful for me. It may not be doing woodworking, but it's doing the job I needed to do. And one of the most important parts of my shop is my nib making area. Over here I have two of my nib saws or nib slitters. And both of these are set up to do size 8 and the new size 10 nib that is coming out. I haven't used this saw very much, maybe once or twice, but once it's ready to go and once I have the number 10 ready to go, I'll be using it a lot more. Next to that is my nib making bench, and in my last video you got to see a lot of this bench, and it has a bunch of tools that I use for nib making. Last but not least is where I keep all my material. In this area, I keep a lot of my acrylics, my vintage materials like vintage Sebloplast, a lot of the materials that I got from Bexley or Howard Levy. I've got some ebonite in there, I've got some wood, all different types of materials. Also, I keep materials up here in these drawers. I keep a lot of my historical materials, like my Shawshank wood, or wood from the White House, or USS New Jersey for that fact. And each one of these drawers, this is my overflow drawer, mistakes or things that I haven't got to yet. Some more overflow. And then, if I open these two doors and back up, here's where most of it's located. Up top, I keep a lot of the custom blanks and all my ebonite, or some of my ebonite. Most of my loose ebonite is up here. I have more ebonite under one of the benches. Over here, you've got some acrylic, some celluloid, some other types of blanks. Oh, you've got the opal And you've got the Tiffany casein right here. Some Juma and some, looks like Conway Stewart stuff. Down below, I keep a lot of my natural materials like wood and antler. So that pretty much does it for my shop tour. There are some other tools, but they're not as important. I want to thank you for sticking this out with me. And hopefully you'll be with me on my next video where we're going to discuss threading. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.